Good evening, sir. This is the reporter number 50, Jane B. Dayanan. This time, we should talk about the obstacles to ethical behaviors. What is the obstacles to ethical behaviors? Is the cognitive biases, self-interest, and unethical behaviors when is exclusively consider the situation's economic and legal ramifications without considering its ethical implications, and we are using improper framing. Uh, Introductions. Every organization strives to have companies understand that good ethical practices are in actually good business practices. Other people and organizations are studying how ethical lapses can occur. So every organizations work to educate business on the connections between moral behavior and sound business decisions. Meanwhile, other individuals and organizations are researching the causes of ethical failures. Barriers of ethical behaviors. There are 5 obstacles to conducting business ethically. Account to Facts 2011, compliance on policies and procedures to implement business ethics is important. Even the best intentions compliance program will fail if it does not take into account biases that can blind management and employees to unethical behavior. Each barriers is analyzed by corresponding suggestions, but two possible remedies are given. First, the conceived goals. This barrier is these barriers is goal or incentives that promote desired behaviors that encourage a negative one. Uh, the example of this is the Ford Pinto, where the Ford Motor Company discovered the pre-production crash test the potential danger of ruptured fuel tanks. The Ford engaged through the exhaustive cost benefits and psychological and organizational factors diverted the Ford executives' attention from the ethical dimension of the problem. So, as a remedy, the author suggests that business leaders must understand the incentive systems which their company has in place and the effect that is has on the workforce. This suggests brainstorming unintended consequences. When devising goals and incentives, management should also consider alternative goals may be important to the rewards. And the second one is the barriers to overlook the unethical behavior of others when it's in our interest to remain ignorant. The An example of this is the failures of the credit ratings agencies which contributed to the economic downturn rather. The monet, the motivated blindness came from the fact that the credit ratings agencies were paid by the same companies that they rated, so that they made their profits by staying in the good graces of the companies that they rate. So These conflicts of the interest can be quite powerful. Even the company or an individual's employee is aware of them. The company should root out conflicts of interest because awareness of them may not be enough to protect the company from such ethical lapses. Executives should look to remove them from an organization entirely, looking particularly at the existing incentives system. And the third one is the indirect blindness. These barriers hold others less accountable for unethical behavior when it's carried out through third parties. Uh, an example, the drug Merck, which sold two cancer drugs to the company Ovation. So soon after the sale, Ovation raised the prices on the two cancer drugs by 1,000%. It can be assumed that Merck sold two drugs to Ovation so that the Ovation could raise the price na and not a Merck. So this barrier is the deplorable outsourcing of unethical dirty work. Even the Merck did not know that Ovation would increase the price so dramatically. It's believed that any amount of due diligence on Ovations would have revealed that it had a history of buying and raising the prices on small market drugs. Any company which has such a business representatives should understand whom it's doing business with and that it cannot outsource unethical behavior or assign a task which might invite unethical behavior. And the fourth one is the slippery slope. These barriers are less able to see others' unethical behavior when it is developed gradually. So an example is company auditors. Company auditors who find minor violation by their client company over several years and which by final years it become a large violation or error. So for this barrier, vigilance is necessary. Manager should be on the lookout for even trivial seeming infractions, but the real key is to address them immediately and not let them drag out. Additionally, there should be some types of inquiry to determine if a change in behavior has occurred. And the last one is overvaluing outcomes. These barriers give pass to unethical behavior if the outcome is good. So, this barrier can lead to companies rewarding unethical decisions because such decisions have a good outcome. But but as the authors say, not this can be the recipe for disaster over the long term. The author believed that companies will judge their employees' actions or whether any harm may follow from an actions rather than focusing on the ethically of decisions or actions. So in this problem can overcome by having the possible outcomes of any decision or actions analyzed for both good and bad ethical implications, focusing on the process of decisions making is such more important than simply accepting overcome. So companies should examine behaviors which drive good outcomes and rewards quality decisions, not just the results. So it can be concluded that companies should not simply employ surveillance and sanctioning system, but train leaders to avoid the types of the biases which can lead to the barriers listed in this article. And that that's all. Thank you.